The emergency room at St. Gabriel Medical Center in Denver, Colorado fell strangely silent the moment a severely wounded Green Beret forced himself upright on the hospital bed, ignored the pain tearing through his body, and snapped to perfect attention toward the quiet elderly janitor everyone had spent the morning laughing at. The nurses froze. The doctors stared in disbelief. Security guards looked at one another, completely confused. No one could understand why one of America's most decorated Special Forces soldiers would salute a man wearing worn-out work shoes, faded janitor's clothes, and carrying nothing more than a mop and an old bucket. Yet in that unforgettable second, everything the hospital staff believed about the quiet cleaner shattered forever. Before this incredible story continues, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who still believes kindness changes lives, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy emotional stories about courage, humility, and second chances. Your support helps bring more inspiring true-to-life stories to people around the world. The elderly janitor's name was Michael Carter. At 68 years old, he had worked the night shift at St. Gabriel Medical Center for almost 7 years. He arrived before sunrise every morning, quietly cleaning hallways, waiting rooms, and emergency rooms before the busiest hours began. Most people barely noticed him. Others treated him as though he were invisible. A few younger employees joked about his old-fashioned manners, his patched jacket, and the tiny notebook he always carried in his pocket. They assumed he had lived an ordinary life filled with failure, believing that anyone cleaning hospital floors at his age must have never accomplished anything important. Michael never answered insults with anger. Instead, he greeted everyone with a warm smile, held elevators for strangers, cleaned children's spilled drinks without complaint, and often left encouraging handwritten notes for exhausted nurses finishing difficult overnight shifts. Unknown to everyone around him, he believed that true character was revealed not when people respected you, but when they overlooked you completely. One rainy afternoon, the emergency department exploded into chaos after a military helicopter transferred several injured service members from a nearby training accident in the Rocky Mountains. Doctors rushed stretchers through the entrance while trauma teams prepared operating rooms within seconds. Families waited anxiously outside, praying for good news. Every hallway echoed with hurried footsteps and urgent medical instructions. Among the injured was Green Beret Master Sergeant Samuel Brooks, a battle-hardened soldier whose body carried countless scars earned during dangerous missions around the world. Despite heavy injuries and severe blood loss, Samuel remained alert enough to observe the people surrounding him. His breathing was difficult, but his eyes stayed focused as nurses hurried beside his stretcher. While everyone raced to save lives, a spilled container of medical supplies scattered across the emergency entrance, creating a dangerous mess. Several employees became irritated when they saw Michael carefully moving toward the area with his mop, believing he was only slowing everyone down. One frustrated worker laughed loudly, suggesting the old janitor should stay out of the professional's way. A few others chuckled, never imagining their words would be remembered only moments later. As Michael quietly stepped aside to allow another stretcher through, Samuel caught a clear glimpse of the elderly man's face. For an instant, the wounded soldier thought the pain was causing him to imagine things. Then recognition struck with overwhelming certainty. Every lesson of discipline engraved into his military career came rushing back. Ignoring the agony surging through his injuries, Samuel pulled himself upright, straightened his shoulders, and snapped to perfect attention with complete respect directed toward Michael Carter. The emergency room became completely silent. Doctors tried convincing Samuel to remain still, fearing additional injuries, but the Green Beret refused to break his posture until Michael acknowledged him with a gentle nod. Confusion spread across every face in the room. Nobody understood why an elite Special Forces operator would honor a hospital janitor with such extraordinary respect. Only after Samuel's condition stabilized did he quietly explain what nobody else knew. More than 30 years earlier, before Michael had disappeared from public life, he had served as one of the most respected Special Forces commanders in the United States Army. During his career, he had led impossible rescue missions, protected innocent families trapped in conflict zones, and brought every soldier under his command home alive through courage, discipline, and remarkable leadership. His reputation had never been built upon medals, but upon the lives he saved and the people he inspired. Young soldiers spoke of him with admiration long after he retired. Samuel had once been an uncertain recruit struggling to survive the brutal demands of special forces training. Many instructors doubted he belonged there. Michael had seen something different. Instead of judging weakness, he had patiently taught Samuel that strength begins with humility, discipline, and serving others before yourself. Those lessons shaped Samuel into the leader he eventually became. After retiring from military service, Michael chose a quiet life instead of accepting consulting positions, public recognition, or leadership opportunities that offered wealth and prestige. His beloved wife Grace had become seriously ill, requiring years of expensive medical treatment. Michael sold nearly everything they owned to care for her with dignity. After she peacefully passed away, he remained at St. Gabriel Medical Center because the hospital had shown Grace compassion during her final days. Cleaning its floors became his way of giving back to the place where strangers had treated his family like their own. His co-workers never knew any of this because Michael never believed personal sacrifice deserved applause. He simply continued serving others in silence. News of Samuel's unexpected salute spread quickly throughout the hospital. Staff members who had laughed earlier felt overwhelming embarrassment as they learned the truth. Some quietly apologized. Others admitted they had judged Michael only by his uniform instead of his character. Michael accepted every apology with the same calm kindness he had shown before anyone knew his past. The hospital administration later uncovered military commendations, letters of gratitude from rescued families, and records describing Michael's extraordinary leadership. Yet what impressed them most was not his remarkable service record, but the fact that he had never mentioned any of it while spending years helping everyone around him with complete humility. Samuel recovered slowly over the following weeks. Before returning to active service, he requested permission to spend one afternoon with Michael outside the hospital garden. There they reflected on sacrifice, gratitude, and the quiet courage found in ordinary acts of kindness. Samuel realized that the greatest lesson his commander ever taught had nothing to do with military tactics. It was that true greatness is measured by how gently a person treats those who can offer nothing in return. The hospital itself slowly changed. Employees became more patient with maintenance workers, cafeteria staff, volunteers, and every person whose efforts often went unnoticed. Small acts of respect became part of daily life. New employee orientation even included a reminder that every person inside the building deserved equal dignity, regardless of job title. Michael never asked for that change, but his example transformed the culture more powerfully than any policy ever could. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to support more stories that remind us why kindness, humility, and respect still matter in today's world. Special request. Before you finish watching, please leave a comment with the words "Respect has no uniform" if you believe every person deserves kindness regardless of their job. As Michael quietly pushed his mop down the same hospital hallway the next morning, nothing about his appearance had changed. He still wore the same simple uniform, the same worn shoes, and carried the same cleaning supplies. Yet everyone who passed him now offered a smile, a greeting, or a heartfelt thank you. They had finally learned that greatness does not always arrive wearing medals, expensive suits, or impressive titles. Sometimes it quietly cleans the floor beneath our feet while carrying a lifetime of courage, sacrifice, and compassion hidden inside an ordinary heart. And somewhere deep within that busy emergency room, one unforgettable salute continued reminding everyone that respect should never be determined by a person's position, but by the strength of their character and the kindness they choose to show every single day.